And we're live. Whoops. LinkedIn says you're not approved to LinkedIn Live. Oh, that's messed up. What is up, everybody? It is your girl, Martha D. Stubb, owner of MDMC Entertainment.
And I'm Mark Schroeder. I'm the Albuquerque half of the operation. How's it going?
I just upgraded this entire thing. It's like $50 a month now. And it was telling me I could totally go live on LinkedIn the other day. And that's how, we started pushing it on LinkedIn on our posts and stuff. And now we can't. So I guess we'll just start putting in, let's share this everywhere before we get started.
Yeah.
Freaking LinkedIn. I know it's only the special people that can go live. I get it, but come on.
Yeah, LinkedIn is special. But hey.
I get it, but come on now. The rest of us regular people want to be seen on LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn is one of those hubs we just haven't utilized to our fullest yet because it won't let us. Let me share it to my page so I can get people in. We do have a Facebook group now, the MDMC digital marketing group. Go check that out. This is streaming live in there. We only have 2 members, so get that started. Episode 5. And then post, and then let me go to YouTube real quick.
That's not what I wanted.
How's your morning going, Mark?
Same day, same stuff, different day. See, I cleaned that up.
Yeah, we have to now. I mean, it's kind of funny. Let me go to LinkedIn real quick and share the link. Hold on just a second. Sorry, guys. We'll start momentarily. This will allow us to get some people in. Hopefully people are still watching us. We missed last week. I felt was very much under the weather. And I called Mark 30 minutes before the show. I was like, I can't do it. So we didn't do one last week. So we apologize. But we're up and running. We're scheduled out for the rest of the month. So we're good.
Well, if I wasn't awake before this, I am awake now.
Why would you do?
My dear darling wife brought me coffee.
Oh, nice.
She got me the off menu stuff that I actually order from Starbucks, which is adding like 3 extra shots to this venti.
Oh, nice. I've actually gone back to the gym, so now I'm just like I'm trying not to drink as much coffee as now I'm trying to get back on that because it's
well, surprisingly for me, it's just like the coffee. I don't drink that much coffee. I've cut back on my soda over the last, I would say, year.
Yeah.
And hell, I dropped 20 pounds because of it, but that's beside the point. So our topic for today, networking.
So, I mean, my entire business grew from networking. I think that's just a huge thing that just happened. And it's hard because a lot of people don't really know how to network. When you think of networking, you think of those stuffy hotel ballrooms and those stupid little mixers you got to go into and just pass out your business card. I hate those. I used to do those when I used to work for companies in the past where I had to sit there and network with people and forced conversation with people you don't even know, and it never led to anything.
Right. I mean, but a lot of people would also sell to those people versus selling through those people.
Right. A lot of people don't know how to network correctly.
Because the thing is that if you sell to those people, you're going to piss them off.
Yeah, exactly. And it's one of those really weird tightropes that you walk because, at times when you meet those people, they're like, oh yeah, let's connect. And then you try to pitch them with you and they're like, no, I don't want that. Thank you. I was like, well, then why did you even talk to me at this X event we went to? I don't know. It's just, I networked very differently to grow this business. As you know, this started out at, the idea of working in entertainment came from San Diego Comic-Con, which sadly is not happening this year. But, that idea sprung in my head. I was like, all right, This is basically a nerd convention or trade show, and there's people in the back that need help to get word out that they're here. And so that's why I was like, okay, there has to be a ton of marketing to this. Like, and that was just barely getting into my marketing career. So I was kind of really naive and not very smart about it at the time. And I just did what any person at that time was doing. I started a blog, and then I started talking about people's projects that I admired, which led to me having a conversation with a Star Trek actor that led me into that. And then when I met him, it, we were pushing a project somewhere else where I landed in another Comic-Con. And then I started meeting other people at that convention. And so because I was promoting this one project, I was going to several cons in the Southern California area. I started to meet people, and people were like, well, what is this project? What do you do for them? Obviously, because I'm not an actor. And it started to build over time. And, it was networking made easy, though. Like, I didn't feel like it was networking the way people think networking is. It just happened so easily and so gracefully. And then, am I echoing? Think networking is. It just happens. Okay,
Hold
you're
on
watching it so gracefully. And then,
hold on. There we go.
Technical difficulties today, guys. Sorry.
Yeah. First it's a mic and then it's this, but what? Hey.
Yeah, I know. I'm sitting here waiting, and Mark's taking forever to show up. I was like, "What the hell, man? Let's go."
It's like I'm coming.
I know. But yeah, so it just something that manifested easily over time. And then last year, when the job that I started for a short time ended, the first thing I did was, well, first I got a client right out the bat. So that was pretty cool. But then after I got done launching that client into the digital sphere, I said, you know what? It's time for me to go to LA. It's time for me to go talk to people that I've worked with in the past or I've met in the past at Comic-Cons. And I cruised all over town, and I'm like, hey, just so I want to do this conversation in person. Like, I work for myself now. I've decided not to get on the job market anymore after being 7 months on it, landing a really shitty job for 3 months, and then, deciding that I never wanted to work for a person ever again. I was like, you know what? I'm doing this for myself. And so they're like, yeah, great. I might have you do my stuff for me. I was like, when I was starting out, I was like, yeah, I'm somewhat cheap. I can do what you need. And then it just manifested over time. And even now, like, I think networking and reputation go hand in hand into creating your business. And just yesterday on my personal page, I shared a picture of 2 people that I'm working with very closely right now that are really quote unquote feeding me because of the work that they're throwing at me. So it's like, when you do great work and your reputation goes around, and you did that because of networking, I mean, it's pretty cool. And I think it's kind of funny because I saw a couple of shots taken at me from a distance. I was actually flying to New York, and I saw someone say, well, I don't know how people are hiring a digital marketing agency that has no testimonials. And I'm like, it's all about reputation. It's all about the networking that I did, and I started this idea like back in 2004, 2005. No, sorry, 2014, 2015. Sorry, I'm in the wrong decade. But it's because I networked all those years before that led me to this point right now. And that's what a lot of people don't necessarily think. They just some people think this just happened overnight. I'm like, no, this did not happen overnight. And, yeah.
Yeah, this is something that it
Ooh, you froze. Mark. Okay, we have Mark frozen. Hold on a second. Sorry, guys. A lot of technical difficulties today. I think I'm the only one that's working right now. Okay. We're going to kick him out for a minute. Restart. The beauty of technology, guys. Let me see if I can add him back in. Mark? Nope. This is great. You know, you spend this much money on a technology and it breaks. For anyone that's watching, I am using StreamYard. I decided to upgrade because you know, we're broadcasting live on lots of platforms. Okay, let's see if Mark can join back in. Are you okay now?
I don't know what it is today, but you know, that's what happens when you put together a live internet or TV format. Things will happen, as we both know. You know, watching all of the broadcast of all the different networks since March, or they're like, or broadcasting from a room. It's me and a mechanical arm with a camera.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool because I see a lot of my favorite people, like the E Network, and you know, I love watching The View. I know a lot of people don't like The View, but I love The View. And they're
gotta love Whoopi, though. Gotta love Whoopi.
I love Whoop. I think she's amazing.
Mother Whoopi. Oh my Lord.
Well, first of all, you know, I'm a very long time diehard Star Trek fan. So in my mind, that is Guinan talking, not Whoopi Goldberg. That is Guinan.
Well, and then the fact that they were supposed to bring her back for the season 2 of Picard.
Yeah.
And actually, Patrick Stewart actually asked her live on television.
That was amazing. I was like freaking out because, you know, I know we're segueing away from networking, but this is a good segue, we promise. But I remember when they were bringing up all these shows. So I was a really big Voyager fan. Okay, I loved Captain Janeway. I thought she was just she was badass, and the fact that she was a woman, you know, she's the first woman to bring a ship back from the Delta Quadrant back into, you know, the Alpha Quadrant. I think that in the feat of 7 years, where it was going to take 70. I mean, I think she was, you know, definitely one of the best captains. And then I was like, all right, let's see what happens after Voyager. I want to see like the monsters or the aliens get creepier. I want to see where the technology goes. And I have been waiting almost 20 years to get an update. And finally, Picard is the update. And I'm just like, oh, man, we need more of this. And so, yeah, I was really excited the fact that they were going to bring back Whoopi. I know they mentioned Quark in one of the episodes, and I'm like, oh God, please bring back Quark, because I love Armin Shimmerman. I've actually worked with Armin Shimmerman on set, and he is just the greatest. I love him to pieces. So, yeah, I know a lot of the people that have worked on TNG and Deep Space and Voyager, and they're just great people. I love that.
How you met all those people? You networked.
I networked. It's kind of funny because the reason a lot of people, it's really funny. I used to travel all over the place before COVID. And like I would probably do at least anywhere between 2 to 5 trips a year. And a lot of people were like, well, I don't understand how you can afford to do all this. I'm like, you understand I work for somebody else, right? Like, you know, I don't necessarily work like I'm on the payroll, but sometimes companies or like an agent that I was working with couldn't make it to a show for whatever reason. So I would then acquire the plane ticket and the hotel and the per diem to go in their place. And then I would travel with the client to make sure they got paid, that their table was handled correctly, you know, make sure all the business legalities, you know, fall in line so there's no issues. And there's been a couple of times where I've traveled with Star Trek people, and it's been interesting. But, you know, there are some trips that are just, you know, a blast. I know I'm slated to go somewhere in October, but I don't think it's going to happen. I don't know.
Well, right. I mean, I was thinking baseball season, myself, and but they aren't allowing fans. They're not going to allow fans to get close to the players this year
Right.
in their 60 game season, I guess you could call it. And then they go back and forth and try to sit there which goes back to a lot of what I've learned about how baseball has worked has been through networking.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, because I networked with a lot of scouts, people who were higher up in organizations, a couple of owners, really nice people, and But the thing, and the one thing that hesitated me from working in baseball is you make more as a teacher.
Really?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I guess that's kind of the situation here with agents. I had a conversation with. I missed the networking part of the agent part, but let me go back to that. So a friend of mine was working for a nonprofit, or she created a nonprofit, and at Paramorphicon 2016, I believe, she introduced me to the agent, and then we, because my friend was like, oh, she's great at marketing. She does this, and this. And so the agent was interested in that. And that's how we got in touch. And then we became really good friends. I was just in her wedding in February before COVID turned everything around. So we were lucky we got to do the wedding in February because it was at the end of February. But that happened per networking. But, with the whole thing with COVID, it's hard to network now. A lot of networking is done in groups.
Or online.
Yeah, definitely in online groups, virtually. It just sucks. I think I've told agents, I'm like, okay, what else are you good at? Is there any other trade you're good at? Is there something that people would pay money for? Like, you got to start thinking outside the box on that because, I didn't expect this to turn into a COVID talk, but COVID is very active and rampant at the moment. So it's going to always be in our conversations.
Well, yeah. And the thing with, COVID is influencing what networking is now. And the thing, that's going to bring like more use of sites like LinkedIn and, where you're basically utilizing someone else to introduce you to someone else.
Right.
In my earlier days of networking, I met some, pretty awesome people, and one instilled in me the idea of the like me, trust me, do business with me.
Yeah.
Which goes back to when I sit there and say is that it's a rare occasion if someone's going to like you right off the bat.
Yeah, that's true.
And the thing is that with networking, it's a relationship. You may be bad with personal relationship between you and a significant other of whatever your choice, but at least you have, at least if you sit there and nurture networking relationships, they're liable to help you out. If you're down on your luck, they'll take you for a meal.
Oh, yeah. I remember, oh gosh, back when I worked at the newspaper at the Roswell Daily Record, I wrote a lot of features for a lot of the nonprofits, a lot of the things happening in the city, city officials. I used to go out to lunch with a lot of people randomly just to talk about the next feature, or it was a thank you, or, I know the Chamber of Commerce used to have a lot of events at the time. And for some reason, I always ended up at them. I'm not sure why. I wasn't necessarily the reporter. I think I went with a reporter a couple times just so that the reporter had someone to talk to. That's the great thing about networking. Bring somebody with you if you, in person. Prior to
a wingman is always good to have.
You cannot go into a networking event by yourself. I kid you not.
There are times you have to, but the thing is that if you have yourself a wingman, that's a totally other ball game.
Right. And I think it's, I remember at one of the last jobs I had, I went somewhere and my boss would tell me, talk to at least 3 people. That's the goal. Talk to 3 people, then we can leave. I'm like, all right. And that, it was one of those weird Southern California, like really bougie winery networking events. And it was stuffy. I was like, I can't do this. This is not my deal. Oh, I was actually thinking about a topic I put down for the future. There's a great thing about networking. I have a great story. So I put a topic down. We're going to go into this deeper down the road. SEO for the F of it. And this has a lot to do with people that get into, or SEO, CEO for the F of it, not SEO. I'm not talking about search engine optimization. I'm talking about CEO, Chief Executive Officers. But there were people that I had been seeing on Instagram just become CEOs for no reason. And it's funny because there was this girl that I met at one of my last jobs. She had moved here from out of state. And it's funny because she moved from out of state, but she looked already like a California girl. It was really weird. And I was like, she wanted to be like a blogger, and she wanted to turn into so she was, I've told the story on the now debunked traffic confessionals on Instagram, but this girl was doing photo shoots to up her Instagram account. And so she would spend like $150, $200 every weekend to do photo shoots. And so she would put them on her IG, and she would start blogging about, local things and things like that. So she fell into this group of bloggers, and there's this group that they created content. They did, monthly events in La Jolla and things like that. And at the time, I was trying to start up a blog, now defunct as well. The Official Daisy was what I was doing. So I was talking, I did a YouTube channel and everything. I was talking about celebrity gossip, things like that. So I would write about random things like that. And so I went to this event, and my friend said, get there early because the grab bags are really good. Be there the first top 25. So I got there. And one, it's a great networking place because once some of these girls had very large Instagram accounts, and they had, a very large presence in the San Diego community and things like that. Not the community, more like the Instagram community. And so I went to this event. I got my grab bag, the one that was so coveted. And I walked around. It was on a rooftop in La Jolla. And I walked around these little vendor booths. And they had really cool, and I had no wing woman. So I was there alone, which sucked. And I looked around. I did it within maybe 5 minutes. It was really not as big as I thought it was going to be. And I guess the people putting on the show were going to be there within 30 minutes. Well, it's a whole group of girls. They were there an hour late. So I was standing there walking around this circle in an hour. And I couldn't really do the cool little poses with the little backdrops they made and everything, because I was by myself. Who's going to take my picture? And I tried talking to some of these girls, and I'm just like, you guys are bloggers. Like, some of these people were marketing people for banks. These are just girls that wanted to do something different with their time, or, just try to do something that was fun, that fed them. And I walked around this thing and I was like, I'm out. There's really nothing else I can do here. I tried talking to a few people. They were not that great. They were kind of rude. And I said, this is not my scene. So I walked out, and then my friend that was part of the team that made the event, she's like, I ran into her, and she's like, where are you going? And I said, I'm going to the bathroom. And she's like, okay, we're about to go out there. I'm like, dude, you guys are an hour late. Why haven't you been out there earlier? And she was like, oh, I have all these other good girls. They're taking their time. We're taking pictures. And I was like, all right, I'll see you out there. I went to the bathroom and I went home. I did not go back up there. I was like, I am not, this is just, I don't know if it's just the Instagram culture. I don't know if it's just girls thinking they're entitled. I'm not sure what if it's more of a, I mean, I'm considered a millennial because I was born in '86, but it was just a whole different thing. And I'm like, I don't think this is worth the networking time. And then so I didn't say anything. I went to work on Monday. She's like, yo, where'd you go? And I was like, I felt bad. And I actually told my other friend that worked there, I was like, hey, just so you know, I jumped out of this event this weekend. And she was like, why? I said, those girls were awful. It was like Mean Girls, but in real life. And and she was like, really? I was like, yeah. And so my friend was like, yo, you didn't come back. And I was like, yeah, I didn't. And she was like, what happened? I said, look, I'm a very social person and I get along with everybody. And, you know, I've done a really great job networking in the Comic-Con world, but this world that you're in, I only went to support you. And I think it's really tasteless when you guys are late and didn't show up on time. But not only that, what really made me go away was the fact that how awful people were in there. Like, people were rude. Like, I'm surprised you're in this group of people. And she's like, well, who was it?
Yeah. It's a fake thing.
Yeah, I'm just like, no, the heck with all of this. These are just faux CEO people that, you know, that want to be CEOs, that are tired of their day-to-day job, and they try to find another way to do it. And so they think being Instagram famous is going to make you that person. Let me tell you, that's not the truth. It's just far from it. It's just, I think there's a lot of fake buildup in that. You know what I mean? I feel like, kind of like what I was telling you yesterday, you know, CEOs just don't happen overnight unless you have a family that has a business that is willing to give it to you at a certain point. That is the only way people become CEOs at such a young age, period. There's someone funding them, or the family that they are in has handed it off to them. That is the only way you become a real CEO of anything.
Right. But the thing is that you built MDMC from scratch.
I did.
This is yours.
Mm-hmm.
You are boss CEO.
I try to be.
You got the paperwork to prove it too.
That's just recent paperwork too. It's really funny because we, you know, 2020 was supposed to be a great year. And, you know, I set this all up to be like the official year, and then it wasn't.
Yeah, COVID did rain on our parade just a smidge. You know, and obviously with the different states doing the different things right now, obviously business owners are going to have to really sit there and, you know, network in online formats, talk to old networking contacts, you know, be like, hey, can we do a Zoom call? Can we do a regular phone call? Can we do text messaging? Can we do something? I mean, you know, and the thing is that, you know, going to the local Starbucks and sitting for a couple hours is not an option right now.
No.
I mean, thankfully it's not, because when I did it, I spent a lot of money on coffee.
Oh, I bet. Is that how you got most of your business when you had your business, like back in the day?
Yeah, basically I would work out of Starbucks. This was before they got the idea of co-working office spaces, before they became a thing, and which they are now a thing. But obviously with COVID going on, you know, it's better to invest in other equipment to basically continue what, I mean, you have to be able to move the business online. And if the more you can move the business online, you know, the more people you can bring in to, like our situation, for example, and we can interview people, you know, and, you know, that's really where, you know, we'll have the toys. We've got the lighting. We've got the experience. I mean, I've got my camera gear bag over there. It's like chock full. The only thing that's not in there is lights and my lighting and my bigger tripod, which is holding up this mic right now that's not hooked up. But you know, And that's why we have to be able to sit there and tell people that, you can't, just because this economy has done what it's done to your business, whatever it may be, a couple of my ventures right now are probably about 60% up. I've probably lost 40 to 60%.
Yeah.
It sucks. I mean, I told you some of the different ventures, which we won't go into,
Right.
between now and the end of the year that had plans for me.
Yeah.
But like I said, when we first started this, I wanted to do something to benefit where we can actually share our brains with
Right.
people, and hopefully in the sense of motivating people enough to sit there and realize that yes, this economy is probably going to suck, and maybe suck even harder as the rest of the year goes on, especially if what they are projecting right now is going to happen. I mean, they're talking a second stimulus. That's a whole other ballgame. I mean, how do you think senators and congressmen get into Congress? It's not just by voting, not being voted on. The thing is that network
the hell out of each other.
Right. Until you get to that point where people are voting for you, and then you're in. But then again, once you're in, you're still once you're in, you're still running for office and still having to raise more money for your next election.
Yeah, and it's funny because I actually worked at the state capitol for one of the legislative sessions, and it's crazy because some representatives are in various committees. I know, like I would get the committee list, and I was like, "Good Lord, this one's in like 7 different committees." And then there are some of the ones that are laid back. They're like, "We're in one committee." That's I think the minimum was 2, so they were in 2 committees. So like and I get why those ones that are in all those other committees, because it helps them pass their legislation down the road. And because those people that are in all of those committees are also writing the most bills. So it's pretty cool. I think it's neat how it works. It makes sense when you're sitting there and you're looking how it works, because so many people are very passionate about whatever it is that they're fighting for their constituents, and so them being involved in all of these other committees and trying to get their bills passed, they can all talk to each other. I mean, all the offices are lined out. Anyone can go into anyone's office and talk, but when you have that much interaction with other people, it's easier to get your stuff passed. So,
and that's true. I mean, again, how do you think bills get passed? Basically, it's like, you go one senator, state or federal, will go into another senator's office, be like, "Hey, I need someone to co-sponsor said bill."
mm-hmm.
Again, it's networking. And the thing is that, you could be the biggest freaking introvert in the world, but as long as you just go and talk to people one-on-one, you don't have to sit there and go talk to a people of 500.
Yeah.
And cram yourself into like a church or cram yourself into an arena where you're expecting 50,000 people and only 6,500 show up. Or cram yourself into a smaller church and only, I think, like 2,500 show up, whatever. And it just doesn't, how do you think, besides money, that our current president got to where he was?
It's a lot of networking, a lot of talking, a lot of, promises. I think, and that's the web that we all build in this world. And it's not just, it's just the web that we build, how we talk to people, how people respond to us, if they like you. Like I kind of have I know I have a resting bitch face. I get that. We'll throw money into the pot later. But I know I have it, and I walk in, and people are like, I've heard, which is weird in this competitive sphere that I sit in. There's a lot of people that hate me that I've never met, but I think they hate me because of how well I'm perceived by somebody else. And that's
And
the
I've
thing.
had that same issue.
And then when people meet me, they're like, wow, you're totally not what I expected. I'm like, yeah, because you're listening to someone else's BS stories. Like, it's
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and it's kind of like, for example, with me, I'm a 6'3" guy who walks around and just looks like a mean SOB.
Mm-hmm.
But people like you, there are other individuals that we were close to in school that kind of looked at me and went,
Yeah.
Erin, obviously she's.
Oh, I miss her. I hope she's doing okay.
Yeah, we should get her on the show because that would be funny.
Isn't she like a lawyer now?
She is a lawyer. She's a junior associate at some firm in DC.
DC.
She was working for the FCC.
Really?
Yeah.
I know at one point her and I were in North Carolina at the same time because she went to Chapel Hill, I think. Right? Is that right?
No, she was going to the University of Georgia.
I don't know. At some point we were in the same state. I don't know why that was though.
I mean, yeah. And then I know she made her way north. I mean, I talk to her once every blue moon, and I literally mean every blue moon. Because it's just one of those things that girl is off doing her own thing. Supposedly she's married now. Who knows?
Really?
Yeah. Some guy actually really could figure out how to operate her.
Her and I mean, we had so much fun in college. She's super smart. We won that award together that year.
Right.
The undergrad PR student, which was crazy because I had heard, I don't know if this is true or not, but I'd actually heard someone else was up for it. So I deemed this person my nemesis because she was really good at what she did in that classroom. And I was like, man, I could do better. And that's one of my little tricks, I guess, to get better at doing what I do is I look at my competition and I'm like, okay, I obviously see what you're doing and it's good, but I'm gonna vow to make it better. And so I knew there was a girl in my class that was there, and I was like, ugh. And she was liked by a teacher we both didn't like. And I think I heard I heard that she was up for that award that I got, and I think she lost out because she tried to fail me on that project. So she was already on the list of probably not being the most effective person to add an opinion to, but
no, she wasn't. I mean, and the thing is that the woman. What blew my mind is the woman barely ever worked in the field.
And yeah, wasn't she a teacher? Wasn't she a teacher the whole chunk of her life?
She was academics.
Yeah.
And the thing is that, you can only really respect people who have had worked in that field.
I could totally be a professor right now. I totally feel like I could do it.
One of our favorites, she worked in the field.
Right. She was actually a reporter.
Yes.
Yeah.
For the.
She still writes.
She still writes her column. She wrote a book recently.
Mm-hmm. I gotta go get
that. I gotta get. It's on Amazon in a Kindle form, and I promised to buy it, so I gotta go buy it.
I think I'll go get it here when we're done here.
I mean, that's just really.
In Mexico, I'll have to have her sign it for me.
Well, no, I mean, I'm just that it's just a matter of how things actually go,
Yeah.
And the thing is that, and it just goes back to that networking fact, is that even networking back with an old college professor, there are things that she may know that she actually goes, oh yeah, well, let's do this. And,
Yeah.
Or God forbid, we get interns,
Yeah. I'm hoping she supplies us with interns here soon.
Maybe she's watching.
Oh, hopefully. Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know. I think oh God, college was an interesting trip. But good for Erin. That's so cool. I'm really happy. At the end result, her and I ended up sharing that award at the end of the year, which was, I was mind blown.
But both of you were more than deserving of that award, and I wasn't even there.
I think, I really thought it was going to be head to head with me and this other girl. And I thought, if anyone, I have a feeling we're both, well, actually, I didn't even think I was even I didn't really care, actually. It just kind of happened. And then the only reason I really cared after the fact was like, oh, I heard the situation between the professors to give it to me. And I was like, oh, now I'm invested. I got because it wasn't something that I went into the year being like, oh, I'm going to get that award and it's going to be great. And, I had seen it the year before because I got a scholarship. I got a scholarship to finish out my last year, I think. So I got an award the year before, and I saw, outstanding undergrad in PR. And I was like, huh, that's cool. They give out awards for this. And, it was never a thing of, I'm going to go for that goal and I'm going to make it. It was like, hey, guess what? You got one of the biggest awards in the department. I'm like, oh, holy shit, that's cool. And and then I started to realize, I was like, Erin got it too. And I was like, no disrespect to Erin. I was thinking, wow, that other girl, because I always saw her as my competition. I was like, I'm surprised she didn't get it because she's well liked around everywhere else. And then I found out what had happened. And then so I was really happy that it was, I ended up doing that with Erin. So.
Well, and the thing is that you two had, this is the other part of networking that kind of is the underbelly of it, where there are people who will bury their nose up the butts of people who are powerful.
Right.
And the thing is that it's not necessarily a good thing. I mean, there are some people that even I took a liking to that I'll look at them and going, I just want to work with them.
Mm-hmm.
Just because they are that type of individual.
Because you've been following me for years.
Yes, I was Facebook stalking you.
Yes, all the time. Yeah, it's funny. I bring up memories. Like every day I look at my memories. 7 years ago, Mark commented here. I was like, he did? I'm like, yeah.
But no. Yeah, no, and that's the thing is that, there are people you want to work with and you're just like, please let me. But the thing is, it's a matter of, if you have that good rapport with people, you're able to go a lot further than someone who's just basically brown nosing you.
And here's the thing that goes into another thing. When it comes to, I don't know if this is you, Mark. I've never done this. I choose not to do this. I never did. And maybe it backfired on my account. But, every time I got a job with a new boss, I never brown nosed. I just went in, did my work, and left. I feel like if you do that, it's very noticeable that you're doing it. And it comes off very fake. And I was never, ever a brown noser. And I know I had coworkers in the past who went above and beyond, would bring in breakfast, would clean shit. I'm like, what are you doing? And then they're like, oh, we're cleaning because we have people coming in. I was like, but you're not paid to do that. Stop doing that. And they're like, oh no, but it makes us all look good. I'm like, no, it makes you look good. And I remember when things kind of unraveled for me, I actually, I'll be very honest, I severed a friendship. Well, I didn't sever it. It just, we're kind of no longer as close as we used to be. But I called someone out on it because that's just the person I am, because I was very upset at the time because things happened very differently for two people. One took off and ended up going back to a place of employment where we both worked at, and one didn't have a job. And I'm just like, I'm not going to sit here and brown nose for anybody because, you know, I'm like, if you feel comfortable doing it, that's on you. But I'm not that person. And they're like,
Right.
yeah, but I have a job. And I'm like, well, good for you, but I'm not going to sell myself short by being fake to people. That's one thing. And people can read through it. That's why I never did it. You know?
Basically, when I've gone into jobs, and this is to my own detriment, is that I usually will pour an obscene amount of myself into it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and just making sure that everything gets done the way it's supposed to get done. And I'm just disgustingly meticulous about it. Mm-hmm. But I've learned over the years that, you know, even if you go in there, you be yourself. Mm-hmm. Just be yourself, do the job, and get out. You know. Yeah. And the thing is that if it's a toxic, that's the biggest thing is toxic environments to network in are just plain bad.
And that's what happened with the last boss I had. You know, this person like loved people that would kiss ass and would just suck up to them. And I'm like, and I remember having that conversation. I'm like, just so you know, I'm not that person. Like, if you're going to ask me to do that, no, I'm not going to do it. If it happens naturally. If I think that you did something cool, but don't expect that because that's not me. And, you know, I was never a rah cheerleader for this person. I think that's why I ended up getting let go from that one because I didn't fit that mold of, yay, you're amazing. I'm not going to sit there and do that. Hell no.
Well, no. And you really never shouldn't. The thing is that the best people that you can have around you are not necessarily yes people.
No. You know, the best boss I ever had was when I started the first remodeling company I was at. And this guy was very much like a father figure to me. At the beginning, he wasn't. Okay. But he really saw the talent in me and he nurtured it. You know, that's what a good boss does. When they see a good employee and they're like, all right, I can help you. Here, try doing this. Here, this will help you in your career down the line. And then I remember it was the most unorthodox thing ever. I was in a review, you know, getting, you know, an entire job review, which was crazy because I used to get like a couple G's and a bonus, you know, and I'd sit there in my review and, you know, I got a couple. It was almost like being back in school. It's like, all right, you did really bad this time around. You got, you know, this score and this score. And I'm like, damn it, you know, and but those reviews really kept all the employees on their toes. Right. It was oddly satisfying for some reason. I would stress it, but I wouldn't. But when I was in that review, you know, my boss at the end of it, he's like, you did really well. Congratulations. He'd stand up, give you the check. You'd shake hands. You'd sit back down. Very formal. And he says, let me ask you a question. Where do you want to be in 5 years? And I'm just like, what do you mean? Is that a trick question to say, should I say here? Because literally 5 years have already passed and I'm not there. Because eventually he retired and went off. But, and I said, in 5 years, I want to be working at Warner Brothers. I just said it. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be there. Guaranteed. And he said, really? And I said, yeah. And he says, okay, well, I will help you get there. Let's work on things that will help you get better into something like that works in that area. Cause he's like, I think you could do it. You have that personality to do it. You know, you have a very strong work ethic. This is not hard. This will happen for you. I guarantee it. And he started to build me up in that way. Like every time I get off the phone with him, I always felt like I was a rock star. I was like, man, I feel like I'm the best. And like, I would tell people, I'm like, I'm one of the best marketers on the West Coast. Like that's how hyped I got, but that's a good boss. you know, and I'm
It is.
about to put an Instagram post about my last experience and be like, you know, there's a difference between tearing people down and telling them they're not worth anything versus someone who's like, yes, you can, and I will help you. Those are two different bosses. And
Right.
and I didn't suck up to this man. This man took me for who I was and nurtured it, you know, and that opened up the doors to the work that I'm doing today. Because now because I worked well with one of the colleagues at that time that he introduced me to, is now feeding me. I have his other person that's very close to him that is also very near and dear to me, that is also giving me business, and she's feeding me too. So it's like it all builds up over time. And I'm not just saying that networking is going to be something that feeds you overnight. It's going to take time, and you have to nurture that. Don't take that business card and be like, all right, see you later, and hope something comes out of it. You have to nurture it. It's like any other relationship. You got to nurture it.
You know, call them, text them. Be like, hey, what's up? How you doing? How's the fam?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the thing is that the more things you can remember about that person, the more the stronger likelihood of them respecting you.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can be like, you know, hey, how are the kids? You know, and then, how's X kid doing? You know,
Yeah.
And the thing is that how do you think I've done as well as I've done in the collectibles end of it? You know, I took a portion of my media experience plus my knowledge of collectibles and combined the two.
Yeah.
You know, and the thing is that you network and find out what people want when they want it. You know, I mean, the thing is the same thing. You know, for me is like I had guys who were selling out at the flea markets, and they wanted mass quantities of inventory.
Mm-hmm.
Not anymore, but they did.
Right.
Again, COVID. Do I think there should be like a virtual flea market? Yeah, but that's already kind of done. That's called eBay.
Amazon. Are there stuff on Amazon?
More eBay than Amazon, I think.
Yeah, I think
you're right. I mean, and the thing is that as long as you sit there, I mean, you know, if you go back to the old idea of the bartering system, you know, you barter for what you want. It also helps you network. You know, if you came up and started with, let's say, for example, just this pen and bartered yourself up to a meal, for example, for a day, or if you bartered yourself up to somebody teaching you how to do something, and then the next day you go and do it and you make money. That's the other thing. I mean, the thing is that if you teach somebody to fish, they'll fish for a lifetime. If you just show it, if you just bring them to it and let them eat it, that's a different story.
Yeah.
You know, but it all encompasses how networking goes. And the thing is, you know, do you have to get into all sorts of networking groups? No, you don't.
No.
You go with the networking group that best fits your mindset, your character, and how you think you can help the rest of that group.
Well, shout out to all the people in the networking groups I'm in, because they're all subscribed to our YouTube channel.
Thank you.
No, I found this amazing group on Facebook, and you know, I'm uber pissed because, you know, we have these large I had this conversation with someone else yesterday. I'm like, I have a very large following on Instagram, on Facebook, but I can't get people to subscribe. And I even broke it down in a post and in stories. I'm like, look, you know, you have, you know, I think Google said they have 1 billion users that have accounts that can subscribe. You got 2 billion users on YouTube that are averaging out 40 minutes a day on their platform. I'm like, there's no excuse you shouldn't be subscribing to us. And if something is holding you back from pushing that subscribe button, tell us, like, what is it that you want to see, and it sucks because, like, I was looking at the analytics on YouTube. 90% of the people watching our stuff aren't subscribers.
But to me, that's almost not a surprise. But the thing is, it's okay from the perspective that, people won't necessarily do what they need to do in order to, because I've gotten to the point now myself that with YouTube, I find it more as an entertaining type of situation.
Right.
And with and learning different things. It's kind of like, what's the best way to do it? Is Skillshare on steroids.
Word. I just got the bill for Skillshare. Love Skillshare. I agree. I use YouTube for a lot of things. I keep up with the current events that are happening. I keep up with people that I know that have channels, i.e. Illuminati, hashtag show, those people that I try to go support them.
The hashtag show is, they've got a really cool conglomerate setup.
They are actually in the middle of a rebrand. I don't know if I should be saying that actually, but they're up to really big things. I'm really excited.
But they're actually, the thing is that either way, they still have. Don't you?
Is that a networking call?
What?
Is that a networking call?
No, actually, that was a spammer.
Oh.
It's like unknown number. It's like, all right, fine.
I got a weird spam call from New Mexico. I don't know why these people keep calling me. It's weird. I don't know. I just, I think, definitely you don't have to join every group, but
no, because if you do that, you're going to spend more of your time networking and less of the time working on your business.
Yeah, I've made it a point that I have to allot time because I have so much on my plate at the moment, but I have to section out time to do specific things. So like one of the groups that I'm in is full of entrepreneurs, girls, mostly it's girls, because at one point Instagram was at 95% male and 5% female. And so after I've gotten to these groups, I know every Friday there's 2 groups that I'm in that share IG accounts, and they're like, hey, subscribe to, or, follow me, I'll follow you back. And we sit there and we like each other's stuff over and over, which is great. It helps the algorithm. It helps you look more relevant, makes your stuff seen. If you want to know how the algorithm works, look on our IG account. We broke it down. So I do at least an hour Friday to share my stuff. I'm like, here, whoever wants to help me out, great. And then I feel like I'm doing it the hard way because I know there are competitors of mine that use influencers to wear their shirts and their merch and all that stuff. And I'm like, I'm not going to spend time on an influencer. Because, I think at the end of the day, it's like you want the quality of people, not the quantity. I think at the end of the day, it's about the quality.
It's kind of like, for example, some of the meetings we have coming up. These are people we've networked with. I've networked with before, but they came to me with a proposal I really couldn't refuse.
Yeah.
So that's when I brought it to you, and I'm like, hey, we should at least look at it and see what happens.
That's why I'm like, keep sharing your stuff on your profile because we need, I'm like, let all of Albuquerque know we're busy. Let them know we're ready.
And the thing is that we are. Right now we're here and we're ready to compete.
Yeah.
For business. And the thing is that we can actually, there are firms out there who are doing $1 million+ a year. I have the numbers stacked over here somewhere.
That's my dream. I want to make $1 million.
And the thing is that in the industry, it's possible.
It is. It's going to take us
a matter of also getting quality talent, but they're also hiring a lot of younger talent.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is by hiring a lot of the younger talent, you know, they're cheaper to operate versus someone like myself who's had the experience in the field. And, you know, like my wife says, I may be easy, but not cheap.
Right.
I mean, my wife jokingly said one time to me, I set your price. You don't.
Damn.
And I'm just like, okay.
That's a cool. My partner in crime comes in. He's like, "Did you make me any money today?" I'm like, "Excuse me, my empire, not yours." And he's like, "Oh, I beg to differ." I'm like, "No. I got paperwork saying I owe all 100 shares of my company. It's mine." So,
well, right. I mean, and the thing is that the business, the way it is, I mean, as my wife, she has rights to look at the books,
mm-hmm.
you know, and make and kind of give me some sort of executive decisions. The thing is, if I can't get it past her, I can't get it past her.
Right.
And I don't do it. You know, it's kind of like, for example, if I sit there and tell you we should do X, Y, and Z, if I can't get it past you, you don't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, sometimes, you know, for example, you're like, oh, I'd probably start them at a package of this. And I'm like, well, I'm thinking this. And I was like, no, I'm thinking this.
Yeah.
And I'm going like, that number sounds better.
Well, and I think, you know, and it comes down to breaking down your services. You know, like I have, you know, a couple people that, you know, are just doing social media. And, you know, the price tag is at my lowest. I actually have someone who's paying a lot more than that, but I do abundance of other things. But when it comes to the social media aspect, a lot of people, and I think we have this as a topic of, if you have a Facebook page, that doesn't mean you're a marketer,
right?
Which we'll get into later. But let me just explain that when you are a business and you offer a service like social media, anyone just thinks you can slap a picture on IG or Facebook, boom, business. That's not true. You have to think out the strategy. Why are you posting? You have to post with intent. Okay. Which is one of the reasons why we don't post as much as we should. Okay. But we have been posting with intent lately with, you know, we are doing more of the videos to show you how to do specific things and things like that. The algorithm, how it works, how to subscribe to a YouTube channel. That one's great. But you're coming up with a strategy. Then you are taking that content and creating it. A lot of people don't understand how long it takes to create content. It could take days, depending on how much you're building, how much you're going to schedule out. And the third part is the scheduling out part. And then the fourth part is the maintenance of, all right, let's see who interacts with it, who has questions with it on the platform. Mm-hmm. So there's four things you're doing in one service. And I had to break this down for an intern of mine who was doing this for somebody else. And I was like, well, congrats, you got a client, because, you know, she has her own business, but she's starting her little side hustle. And I said, that's great. And she's like, I feel bad charging this much. And I said, no, don't, because this is what it, and I broke it down for her. She's like, oh yeah, this is great. Because I think they paid her in I think she said they paid her in 3 bottles of champagne or something. And I'm like, don't get paid in champagne. Get paid in that money, honey. And, you know, but I don't know. It's whatever. I think when you start out as a side hustle, I did a lot of shit for free, you know, just so that I could get a free pass into a show, or, you know, I got, you know, notoriety on someone's really big Instagram account, something, you know, and it leads to other things. And that's what I mean is networking. She obviously networked in with these people that gave her business. You know, I don't know how she did it, but she did it. So.
Right. Exactly. I mean, and the thing is that the business itself, you know, you don't necessarily have to push so much effort into it in understanding.
Don't come off salesy either. really nurture it first. For like a relationship.
It's kind of like an 80-20 rule. 80% of the time you're entertaining and informing.
Okay.
The 20% you're actually selling them something.
Right.
Because that 80%, you're using that time to build the like me, trust me, do business with me. And by the time you get to the do business with me, you're already into that 20% of, hey, here's what I have to offer.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, for example, with the travel industry right now, you have the different products, the different, you could be cruising, you could be flying somewhere, you could have a personal concierge, so on and so forth. But, it's you have to be able to sit that benefit and say, using a travel advisor, you can get stuff like this. Yes, you have to pay a little bit more, but the thing is that you're not the one dealing with all the headaches. It's the travel advisor.
Right.
And the thing is that buying a ticket on Expedia, buying a ticket, Travelocity, wherever, the thing is that you better know what you're getting yourself into.
Right.
And the thing is that with now as of, I think it was last night, or Monday, one of the two, the European Union shut down to Americans.
No, I've been itching to go to Europe too, and that's the really bad thing about it. I've been dying to go.
But the funny thing is that I have a sister who lives over in England. If she wanted to come back here, she could. Her and her kid.
Mm-hmm.
Not her husband. Nice guy. Surprisingly, I've never met him, but that's beside the point. He, if they wanted to come back here, they could. But could my mother go over there right now? No. And plus, would you want your mother, who is of that age, to sit there and travel over there?
No.
Not right now.
I even had to tell my mom she wanted to go to Mexico, and I was like, no, you're not going anywhere. You stay put. And she was like, yeah, I forget what the deal is with Mexico and their border, but I was like, wait until next month. Don't do anything crazy. Oh, wait, it is this month. She told me that back in June. I was like, don't go nowhere.
And that's kind of the same problem I've had, is that, there are things that I could have gone to that you can't do right now. And
there's a dumbass I know that does YouTube things too, and there's a convention that was happening in Florida, and there's another one that's happening somewhere else. And I had actually talked to my agent friend. I said, hey, what do you know about this? Because some of her people were on there. She was like, these are not my people. I mean, they are, but I didn't book them. And she's like, that show's about to be canceled. So, and I get people are anxious to get out there and do stuff. And this YouTuber's like, oh, yeah, I'm going over here at this time to do this con. And I'm like, you do know that's going to cancel, right? And I was like, don't buy your plane ticket. This dude already did. And I was like, well, have fun where you're going, because I don't even know if you can do anything when you get there. So stupid.
Right. A lot of states are doing the 2 weeks quarantine there, and then 2 weeks when you have to get back.
Yeah. And that's why I haven't left. I've been wanting to go back to New Mexico for a little bit and just, spend some time with my mom, because I feel bad. She's all alone at the moment. And I've been wanting to go, but yeah, you have to stay in quarantine. And I'm like, I don't want to stay in quarantine for that long.
But the thing is that in theory, you could do it.
Yeah.
You could, but you'd be a little more stir crazy, I think. That's just my thought.
Well, I don't know, because I'm home all the time anyway, working. I've got so much on my plate. I'm very thankful for it. I'm fine. I'm definitely a homebody. I know that my partner in crime gets a little nuts when he's, there's a weekend, I think it was a couple weeks ago, where I was like, I don't feel like going anywhere. I'm perfectly fine with my laptop working. And he's like, I need to get out. I was like, okay. So we broke, we took a break, and went out, and I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go back in, because we went to Frank's and I was walking around with a mask. I'm like, I can't do this. I'm out. I was like, I don't even want to be anywhere. I just want to go home.
Well, and the thing is that once all this stuff brightens up, that's one of the, when I go out there and see you guys, I want to see that place.
It's a lot. It is.
But I mean, the way I see it is I want to see that place and the ocean.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not that picky, you know. I mean, yeah, I probably walked away with a very, very empty wallet after leaving Frank's, but you know,
I spent $200 in there the other day. Partner in Crime is doing a lot of private signings lately, and he's like, "Oh, I need this pop and this pop," and then of course, you know, the new Wonder Woman movie is coming out, and I've realized my Wonder Woman pops are not as it's not as large as I'd like it to be, because I missed a lot of them. And so I just started picking up like things that I needed. I'm like, okay, that's like, I spent like $40, but then, you know, Partner in Crime spent another. I was like, okay, we need to go. $200 now. We need to go home. So it's very easy to do that there.
Well, right. I mean, and one of the biggest things that I like to do is I'm more of a flats type of guy myself.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, if I can't put it into a binder of some sort, I'm not apt to, you know, collect it, for example. Maybe an occasional baseball, an occasional helmet. I mean, you know, and most of that's in my eBay store as it is right now.
Right.
But that's just really where you need to find, you know, you got to find what's important to you. Find the passion behind it. You know, you'll end up, excuse me, when you network, you will find people with basically the same passions. You may not agree with them politically, but there are some people, like there was another gentleman who I've been talking, I hadn't talked to in a while, and I referred him to he was an insurance guy. He was a health insurance guy. So I referred my mother over to him, and because she wanted to sign, because she was at that age where she wanted to sign up for Medicare. And, you know, and I basically said, tell him what you want. You know, I mean, we've just been kind of chatting here and there ever since. So hopefully, you know, we'll be able to sit there and, I mean, it's little networking things like that, you know, where basically you give somebody that bone, they're going to eventually come back to you and give you a bone to play with.
Exactly.
You know, and the thing is it's not going to be overnight. I mean, my mother signed up for Medicare with this guy, I think 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I think. I'm trying not to pinpoint my mother's age totally, but I know she's younger than my dad.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, it's just one of those things that, you know, you go to these people and, you know, you meet these people over time. And if you like these people enough and you trust them, you know, and it's like I said to him, I said, hey, I like to trust you. I'll let you do business with my mom.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's been complete opposite of that where I liked and trusted a person and they totally screwed me and my mom.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean,
it was a tax related person, but you know, we won't go there.
Yeah.
So well, topic for next week.
I don't know. What is our topic for next week? Hold on a second, people. Let me see. Let me look at my Canva. What is next week? Not the 30th, the 23rd, the 9th?
Yeah.
Oh, here's a great topic that we're going to really dive into. It's like why marketing and public relations fall flat in company budgets. That is a huge problem.
Oh, that's going to be a lovely topic. Heck yeah.
I know.
Here's a bone to chew on.
I know from personal experience about that, so it's going to be a fun one.
Exactly. I mean, and you're right. I mean, that's the biggest thing is that we're hoping, and then obviously, if anybody who's watching has this topic, drop us a line on any of our social medias. They're all at the bottom there, and definitely, if it's a worthwhile topic to us, then the likelihood is we'll end up probably doing it.
Definitely. And I've gone off and started to show a little bit more behind the scenes of creating specific things like logos and social media and how to set up your Facebook page. Like I have a whole series of little smaller videos, little how-to videos that are going to be finding your way onto our YouTube channel and all of our other pages here very shortly. The first one already came out. It's how to make a business logo. I made it under 3 minutes. So
yeah, I know. I watched the whole thing.
Yeah, it was good, right?
I liked it. I mean, it was like, to me, I kind of got the Bob Ross feel.
Oh,
you're like,
am I doing ASMR for business?
You know what though? We almost should.
Oh my God. I don't think I have an ASMR voice. I don't think I do.
I probably could do it for that.
Oh my God. Oh my God. ASMR artists are dope. The one that I watch has disappeared for a year. You may know her, ASMR Requests. Do you know her? Yes. I think you follow her. She disappeared for about a year.
Yes, that's right.
I don't know where she is. I've been low key going back to her channel. I'm like, are you coming back? Like, because she used to do these FabFitFun. I don't know why. I think FabFitFun was her sponsor for a good while. And she did the last video she did was the summer box. And like it had been like 3 months, and I was like, I commented, I was like, did your FabFitFun subscription end? Like, where the hell are you? And it's just funny. Like I flat out hate people that just ghost, that just ghost channels. Like you have 500,000 subscribers and you just ghost them for a year. Like that's messed up. Like I'm gonna be pissed if she comes back, like where the hell?
And that's the thing is that's not our goal with this channel. Our goal with this channel is to entertain, watch each other rag on one another.
I will try not to do ASMR business channels. I promise. I'll do better videos.
Or we could do this and talk like that and see what happens.
I don't think people want to see me up that close and personal.
Well, it's kind of like the looking in the eye bit, but
Yeah, it's weird. Like
I did that to my kid once when we were on FaceTime, and it just like I just kind of kept blinking my eye, and he's like, whoa. But yeah. No, so obviously we'll get into that topic next week. Obviously, if you have any other topics you want to talk about, our social media down the bottom, like us, subscribe, turn on the little notification bell so that way if we're going live or if we push a video up. And I guess we'll see you next week.
Yeah, see you next week, guys. Have a good one.
See ya.
Bye.